Nour, I'm having issues writing character flaws because I just don't have any, so I can't relate.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't have any?
I'm perfect.
Michael, I think your self-obsession...
Hold up, I'm talking right now. I'm perfect.
No, Michael, I think your self-obsession is...
It's a fantastic thing and I agree. Wrap up the skit, get into the video.
Hey guys, Nour here, and here's how to write a flawed character. Flawed characters are so great because they have so much energy. And I don't mean that they're hyper and extroverted. I'm just saying, they're fun to read. They're not so perfect that they do no wrong. Ever. On the contrary, they're like us, and we're all flawed. And if you don't think you have flaws, then you're deluding yourself. You might be thinking, aren't protagonists supposed to be good and likable? Maybe, but not always. And either way, a protagonist can be flawed and still have good intentions. They can even be likable most of the time. Just because a character is flawed doesn't make them weak. On the contrary, it makes them relatable, and that is just the thing that will make us root for them. We will want to see them work through their flaws and grow as people, just like we want to see friends and family grow as people. So don't be afraid to make your protagonist flawed. But the trick here is to not write a nearly perfect character, only to then point and shout that they're even better by the end, because that's not interesting one bit. Start by thinking of things that describe your character and might even hinder them somehow, such as by getting them in fights, putting them and others at risk, or making them unreliable. Though keep in mind that those flaws should never be things that your character can't control. For example, if they're born with a disease, that's not really a flaw. It might make their life harder, but they can't exactly change their circumstances. So it wouldn't be fair to call them out on their flaw, as it is not exactly a flaw tied to their personality and behavior. And if all characters got angry at them for their illness, then your readers will be mad at you. Instead, make their flaw something like a quick temper, alcoholism, being selfish, or being a compulsive liar. Now, maybe you don't want your protagonist to be a complete crabbag, but they can still be flawed. Maybe they're too self-obsessed with work because they don't want to think too much about reality. Maybe they'd rather play video games 24/7 than talk to their wife. Okay, maybe not 24/7, but a lot of time. Or maybe they're shopaholics and it's hurting them and their loved ones. How bad you make their flaws is up to you, but do keep them in the realm of things they can control. Similarly, you don't want your protagonist to have flaws that can be perceived as attractive. Oh, they just care too much about their friends. Like, no, those aren't flaws, they're quirks, and they're cute depending on the situation. Next, you want your characters to make mistakes with their flaws. They're so self-obsessed that they forget their mother's birthday, or they forget that they made plans with their friends. Those are mistakes that can be great subplots and drive the story forward. They're also the type of mistakes that a character can learn from and grow over the duration of a story. At the same time, when a flaw comes out, don't only highlight them by having other characters point them out. While that's all good, if the character never realizes their flaws, then what's the point? They'll keep making them while being clueless, they'll stay the same, and the story would end the way it began. Even if others have to call them out on their mistakes, your protagonist should feel guilty at least sometimes for their errors, because that's what will eventually propel them to work toward improving themselves and doing better. So don't shy away from flaws. In fact, it's always better to have flaws in your characters than to not. And my last bit of advice for you is to not have your character's flaws contradict each other. If your character is socially awkward, don't have them be a social butterfly out of the blue just to get them out of trouble. Capiche? So yeah, those are all my tips for you. Let me know in the comments, in what ways are your characters flawed? And before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Sarah Frayne from my shoutouts here over on Patreon, as well as all my other patrons. Thank you all for your support. And if you haven't checked out my Patreon yet, make sure you do so because all my patrons get some awesome exclusive perks. And also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, as well as follow me on social media for awesome writing updates. And remember, Nour for president!